these bones live. You see they're dry. You see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the pilgrims were good at Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher. Amen, somebody.
Let's go, Facebook. Let's go, Graham. Let's go, YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, y'all.
You've got a responsibility to go back to Lodabar. Your work's not done just because you made it to the palace. Bless the name of the Lord. But you've got a responsibility to help somebody else make it across. Thank you, Jesus. Don't pull up the ladder because you climbed.
All right, brother.
Have a good one. Don't blow up the bridge because you made your way across. Thank you, Jesus. But reach your hand back down the ladder and pull somebody else up out of Lodabar. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. That's the name of the Lord. Somebody got to tell themselves, it's all right if you got it now. Just hold it for me. I'll be there to get it after a while. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. You got to make up in your mind.
I had to put the window up, y'all. They be having it blazing in here.
It is for me. I might not have it right now. I may not get it next week. You might try to stop me from getting it. But if God said it's mine, I want you to know after a while, I'm going to get what belongs to me.
Rep your city, rep your town. Those of you on social media.
Sometimes God got to strip what you got so you don't depend on yourself. He got to take away from you so you understand how to depend on El Shaddai. Come on in here. Thank you, Jesus.
I see you, Aunt Marion. Good morning.
Cracked out. Suicide. Homicide. They'll kill you at the drop of a dime. Our jails are full. Yet the crime still runs rampant.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. And as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African-American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. It is 5 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. And I want to thank my brother, Mr. Kenneth Barnett, for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour with the promise. You can hear the promise every Monday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., bringing you the best in gospel music, turning your songs into testimony, giving you a good way to praise the Lord to start out your week. Happy Resurrection Monday to each and every one of you. I pray you had a wonderful resurrection weekend. Listen, in 2 days, days. Somebody type it in the comments, 2 days. The last iteration of the Lift Every Voice lecture series is going to happen here in the 413. If you're in the 413, you need to be in the building at the Spring of Hope Church, 35 Alden Street, Springfield, Massachusetts. The brick church right there at Six Corners. You need to be in the house. Our own Springfield native who went on to do big things, Vicki Irvin, is back home. All right. Matter of fact, I think she's back in the city today. Her mama still lives here, but she's gone on to become an actress, an entrepreneur, an author, all that good stuff. Look her up. If you don't know, you better look her up. You better ask somebody. She is the last speaker for this year's series. She's going to be talking about Black entrepreneurship. Okay, y'all need to be in the building if you want to be thinking about being or are, and you want to get some tips from somebody who's doing it big. You need to be at Spring of Hope on Wednesday, April 12th. Wednesday, April 12th at 6 p.m. We've also got song. We've got K Sam is coming in the house. We got D Moss giving us spoken word. We've got Youthful Expressions giving us dance. So we've got local talent, and we've got our own local, who's now international speaker, Vicki Irvin. You want to be in the house on Wednesday. All right. Tell a friend, tell somebody. Bishop is on the air right now. Listen, there was an incident that happened right up the road at Harvard, but it's been happening all over the nation. It's a phenomenon that's called, I see you, Crystal. It's on Wednesday. It's called swatting. Swatting, and I'm going to tell you about it. It's little tricks that folk use to try to put black people in danger or even get them killed. And we're going to deal with that, endangering black people through this thing called swatting. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you are chiming in from. Okay. Listen, I've got Houston in the house. They're always in the house. Union, New Jersey is in the house. Somebody put that 2 days in there. Thank you so much. The field is in here. Come on now. Rep your city, rep your town. Where y'all coming in from, Instagram? Come on. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Tell a friend, tell somebody, like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Okay. We're coming right back. I see you, Jacksonville, Florida. I see you, North Kakalaki. I see you checking in on the gram. 413-736-2781. If you're in the Twitter space, you can also put in the comment section where you're chiming in from as well. Probably in the next somewhere between now and half past the hour, school committee vice chairwoman Latonia Naylor is going to call into the program. There's this rumor going around about school lunches. Y'all can't believe everything that you hear. Okay, y'all stop tuning in to random people's Facebook lives and listening to them spread lies, and you run off believing it, and then you wound up sounding stupid by challenging people on stuff that ain't even true. So somebody tried to challenge me and say, why isn't the NAACP saying something about the fact that they're not giving the kids lunch next school year? The reason the NAACP ain't saying nothing about it is because it's a lie. It's not true. But anyway, we're going to talk to school committee woman Naylor shortly and put that lie to bed. Jefferson, Georgia is up in the building. Birmingham, Alabama is up in the building. Houston is up in the building again and again. Ludlow, is up in the building. Who else is up in the building? I see you, Demetrius. So I know Orlando is up in the building. You're right. You know that's exactly right. If it was on the internet, it's got to be true. That's what people really think. If I read it on the net, I don't care whose page I saw it on, it must be true. But we're going to put that lie to bed. 413-736-2781. All right. Thank you, Springfield, for finally checking in. I know y'all be listening, but I be wondering, why it take y'all so long to check in. Appreciate you checking in. The field finally deciding to check in. Listen, don't stop. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Life is grow, but the essence of growth has changed. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Reach a little higher, reach a little higher, dig a little deeper, dig a little deeper, go a little further, go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher, come on, yeah.
Springfield, period, huh, Crystal? I hear you. Springfield, y'all need to be at Spring of Hope on Wednesday. Let me turn this down a little bit. See, y'all always be complaining about what ain't happening in Springfield. And then when we bring stuff to the field, y'all will stay home and then keep complaining. All right, we got our own Vicky Irvin in the city right now. She's coming on Wednesday. Y'all need to be in the house, period.
Good enough. You only get out what you put in, so don't settle for the crumbs when you can have the whole loaf. So push yourself beyond your limitations. Come on. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Come on. Don't stop. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. So you got to break the routine of trying to beat the system. Manipulators will always try to bypass the process for the quick progress. There are no shortcuts to success. There are no elevators to the top. You got to take it one step at a time. You got to break the routine of allowing others to get into your head and control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about the positive, you're going to always have haters. But don't let your haters push you down. Let your haters push you forward to the next level. So when people show you who they really are, don't perceive them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes. So you got to keep pushing yourself to the next level. Yeah, there you go. Come on. A little deeper. Come on. Yeah.
Go a little further.
Go a little further. Don't stop. Come on. Don't stop. Come on. Yeah. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Come on. Come on. Come on. You got to understand the greatness is the nature that you were born out of. You'll never discover your greatness without hard work and dedication. Greatness says more about who you are and what you expect for yourself. And greatness will always attract greatness. Show me your friends and I'll show you the future. The future. You're just a step away. You're just a step away. You're just a step away. Don't ever give up.
Nashville, Tennessee.
You're just a step away.
Chicago.
You're almost there.
In the building.
You gotta push yourself.
Hey, baby girl.
You see, there's no mountain too high, no valley too low. You can go where you want to go. It's all in the power of your imagination. If you can see the invisible, you can do the impossible. So stretch yourself. Take yourself.
Nashville, Tennessee is up in the building. Chicago is up in the building. Come on now. Who else is up in here? 413-736-2781. About 20 minutes after, about 5 minutes, we're going to talk to school committee woman Naylor. Then we're going to get into our topic and talk about this whole swatting thing that happened at Harvard, of all places. Don't go nowhere. Stay right here. This is Rhonda Swan. I like what I see.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, stolen from, and hit, but it just made me stronger, and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. Don't go down.
I was above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil.
The devil who said I wasn't good enough,
Cute enough, or worthy of love. I kicked his butt with divine power from above.
Power that says I can do all things
Through Christ, which strengthens me,
and brought me
out of darkness, so that I could see.
That I'm
smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love he came to bring.
Oh yes, when I look in the mirror,
I love what I see.
That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you and yours. Again, if you're in the 413, you need to be here on Wednesday. You need to be here on Wednesday. All right, tell a friend, tell somebody. Somebody type that in the comments. You need to be here on Wednesday. Okay, the 12th. You need to be here in the building. All right. All right. So there's a rumor going around. Why do rumors get started? Started by the jealous people. I don't know all the words, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Look at all these rumors around me every day. Y'all remember that song? Listen, a whole lot of y'all is nervous. There's a Hulu special about Freaknik. You remember Freaknik? It used to happen in Atlanta in the 90s. A whole bunch of mamas and aunties and uncles and daddies and folk who were wilding out back in the 90s are nervous about Freaknik coming out on Hulu. I've been marked safe from appearing in the Freaknik documentary. I don't have anything to worry about. Nothing to worry. Now, if they did a documentary about the Greek picnic that used to happen in Philly every summer, I might be a little worried. But I'm not worried about Freaknik. Some of y'all are worried about Freaknik, though. Oh boy, that's okay. It's okay. It's all right. You'll live through it. You'll live through it. Oh man, I'm telling you, man, it's gone viral. The people who are concerned about what's happening with the Freaknik going on, but it won't be the first time. And now I want them to follow that up and do Woodstock or some of them other gatherings where white folks was drinking and drugging and wilding out. We want to see y'all do a documentary on that. Okay. Boy, Bishop, why you gotta make everything racial? Everything's not about race. Okay. All right. Whatever y'all say. Mm-hmm. Any of y'all worried about Freaknik? If you're not worried about Freaknik, put it in the comments. I ain't worried about Freaknik. All right. If you've been marked safe, type in there, I'm marked safe about Freaknik. I am marked safe. 413-736-2781. All right. We're awaiting school committee woman, a Naylor, who's going to call in momentarily. And we're going to deal with this whole thing about school lunches. There's a rumor going around that there will be no lunch, that they will not be giving our young people lunch at school in the next school year starting in September. And so there are people who are now, doing their usual thing, castigating black leadership and, wanting to know why the preachers and the NAACP and the Urban League and the, y'all ain't saying nothing and y'all ain't doing nothing, nothing about these school lunches. Why y'all ain't saying nothing about these school lunches? Yeah, y'all need to do some research before y'all just start spouting off at the mouth and talking about stuff. Okay, just cut it out. Just stop it. Stop it. Somebody type in the comments. Stop it. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Hi, Bishop. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful.
Wonderful. How you doing today?
I can't hear you that well, though. It sounds really static.
Okay, well, I hear you well. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can make out what you're saying.
Okay. First of all, since I never got to publicly congratulate you, congratulations on your selection as vice chair of the school committee. I think that's a wonderful thing, be able to set agendas and priorities and committees and all that stuff to get some stuff done for the school committee. So first, let me ask you, what are your goals and your priorities for this school year as vice chairwoman?
So there's a few priorities that we have been able to jump on very quickly. So to your point, I was able to reestablish the makeup of the committees, and one of those committees that is very important to me was our diversity, equity, and inclusion subcommittee. And so the person who was in that position prior to, I love him and I wanted to keep him on that committee, but I felt that it needed to be led by Denise Hurst because of her extensive background and certifications in DEI work. And so she has been able to chair alongside Josiah and Mrs. Gresham to make sure that we are really looking at the DEI efforts of the district and really starting to unpack and prioritize what those things are that we need to focus on. And one of those things also on my end that I've been advocating for is not just to have these meetings, but to give them a budget, because we all know that our budget tells the story about the things of those things that are most important and what are those priorities that are most important to us. And if we don't have a line item there that really allows them to do the work that they want to do so that they can actually be effective and have sustainable impact, then we're doing all of ourselves a disservice. And so just in the last few months under her leadership, we've been able to have some really extensive meetings. We've been able to get a lot of progress made, and we're really starting to see some change as far as, even who we're planning to bring in for professional development and how decisions are made and what those policies look like through an audit of some sort to make sure that we really are not just talking the talk, but we're walking the walk. So that's a priority that's been very important to me for the last few years. And so that's something that we're on. Another thing is really focus more on transparency of making sure that we are having through the legislative and contract subcommittee that Mr. Gonzalez runs, he's really taken a hard look at, our procedures and our how we make the decisions as to what we are going to do for contracts or, funding wise, just so many things that, again, because we've not been in the driver's seat, we just haven't had access to certain information. So sometimes it's not necessarily the immediate change. It's really about how do we start to unpack things and understand what's happening so that when we make decisions, we're not making them amiss and don't know what the impact is going to be to our kids or to our staff. And so I feel really good about where we're at. Those are two things that I can really immediately point to where we've been able to already start making some changes. And the subcommittee meetings are coming up. If folks want to join in, they are open to the public. We're having some really intense conversations. We've already had some really intense conversations, and I'm really excited about the direction of the school committee.
Great. Question number 2, before I get into the school lunch thing. There's also, rumors fly all over the place that you may be interested in jumping from school committee to city council, seeing as though there are some at-large seats that are going to be opening up with 2 of our at-large members running for mayor. Any truth to that, or are you ready to talk about that?
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you asked me that question. I am not running for city council. I have no intention of running for city council. I said it 6 years ago when I started running for school committee that I was running for my kids and for the kids in the community. And I don't feel like I've completed my job. I still have 3 children who are in the district. One of them graduated last year. Went off to Bay Path on a presidential scholarship, and now I still have 3 more children in the schools. And so I'm still very engaged, very intentional about my involvement with the schools and our kids, and just making sure that our kids have what they need. So no, I am not planning to run for city council. That is not on my radar.
All right, great. So on this school lunch thing, I don't know how this rumor got started. I don't know where it came from, and I don't know why it's rocking with full steam ahead to the point where they are challenging the leaders on why they're not doing anything about it. What is with this whole thing about there not being lunches served to our children starting the next school year?
So that is not true at all. Most of the funding that we get for our school lunches, especially in a district like ours, sorry, my puppy is a little excited in the background. But we get a lot of our funding, I would say almost 100% of our funding when it comes to our food for our district comes from the federal government, from the state. And so we do not have to worry about taking, money out of a budget to pay for our food. We just have to make sure we do everything we're supposed to do to get reimbursed. So we spend the money, then we get reimbursed for what we spend, as long as we do what the government requires for us to do as we give out that food. And so I said that all to say that we will absolutely still be getting funding from the government to make sure that we can feed our children. And in fact, we're looking to expand our offerings of what we offer our children. So currently we have breakfast, we have lunch, and then we do have snacks in some of the schools. I know for sure elementary and middle and high school, I think it depends on the extent of the day and the kids are staying after school and stuff like that. But we are looking to implement a dinner program as well. So for folks who don't know, we have like an after dark program for SciTech, for example, where their kids get the opportunity who are in that program to go to Putnam and take shop classes. So they do their academic stuff at SciTech, and then they go over to Putnam, but their day is longer. So they don't get done till a few hours later because they have to wait for the kids in Putnam to leave to be able to have access to the shop. And so for folks like that, for other programming that we do in the evening with athletes and folks who stay for clubs, we want to be able to offer dinner to them. And so that's something we're adding. A lot of people may not know, but we invested a lot of money, maybe 5 or 6 years now ago, that we have a culinary center over there. I think it's Cadwell Drive is the name of the street out there off of Page Boulevard. And it is phenomenal. It's state of the art. We do a lot of our food that we cook, provide to our families in that center. And they do offer tours and stuff like that for nonprofit organizations and stuff. And so we're actually going to be organizing a tour to my nonprofit Parent Villages for families to be able to go out there and visit. The folks are amazing. But we wouldn't have done that and clear the air that we are absolutely going to continue feeding our kids. We're going to look to implement backpack programs that are expanded, not just the ones we have now, but being able to get funding from the government to provide backpacks for all of our kids that want it, not just those kids that are absolutely in need and have made an effort to inform the schools that they need it. So,
and they still do
this is the question.
Yeah, and they still do breakfast at some of the schools, don't they?
What'd you say?
They still do breakfast at some of the schools, don't they?
Oh, they do. We do breakfast at every school.
So you do breakfast, so breakfast, lunch, snack, and then even dinner.
Yes, and backpacks for a lot of schools as well. over the weekends where they get food to take home.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, setting the record straight on the city council thing, on the school lunch thing, and giving us your priorities. And definitely we'll be having you on from time to time to update us on what's happening in our school system. How can people get in touch with you if they want to talk about things that are happening in the school system?
Absolutely. So one thing I want to refer people to is the website for the district. There's information there. We are going through an update process to get rid of the current version of the website and put in a new one. So we are looking for folks to give us some feedback on that. But if you Google school committee, it gives you the schedule of all of our meetings. It gives you the schedule of all of our subcommittee meetings. They're posted at least 3 days, at minimum 3 days before the subcommittee meetings. But our regular school committee schedule is on there for the year. Also, our public speak outs are listed on there, and how you can sign up for public speak outs. And there's one thing I want to add in is that we're having on April 26th our annual budget hearing, and a lot of folks don't know it's open to the public. We have it at Putnam in the conference room there at Putnam Academy on State Street, and people can come in and listen, and they can also ask questions when we have these sessions. A lot of folks want to know what we're doing. They just don't know, but they're welcome to come to these meetings. They're all public and they're welcome to the public. So Google us. You can also find me at naylorl@springfieldpublicschools.com, which is on the website. And then my committee number is 413-455-0432. Again, that's 413-455-0432. I want to remind folks that I do have a daytime job, so if you call and I don't answer, just send me a text and I will get right back to you as soon as I get that text, so we can set up a time to talk if I'm not available at that moment.
All right. Appreciate you so very much. Enjoy the rest of your busy day.
Thank you. You take care.
All right. 413-736-2781. All right. So there you have it. That's why we haven't said or done anything about them not having school lunch, is because they are. They're having breakfast, they're having lunch, they're having snack, they're having dinner. All right. Stop believing everything y'all see on the internet. 413-736-2781. There's the number. Let me tell you, if you didn't know about this nonsense that happened at Harvard. Okay. Now there's this thing called swatting, and what swatting basically is someone calling the police, giving them false information with the hopes that police will come and arrest, shoot, maybe even kill somebody that they don't like. Some of them consider it a prank, but in many cases it's done vindictively and purposefully. So what they'll do is they'll call the police and say, there's a domestic violence incident happening next door. Or they'll give them your address and say, there's somebody waving a gun around. They'll give them some false information that will set the police on alert, and police will show up within their mind what was reported, that somebody here has a weapon. Somebody here is dangerous. And then they will respond in kind. They'll come in with their guns blazing. They'll come in, in an aggressive manner, and they will endanger the people that are there who are not even guilty of what they're responding to. So this has happened across the nation. And in many instances, it's white folks calling the police on black folk, giving them false information because they know that, first of all, police showing up to accost black folk is dangerous anyway. And they are more likely to shoot first and ask questions later and all of that stuff. So I've got to believe that this is the intent. The intent is to cause harm. The intent is to put people in danger. The intent is to endanger people's lives. It was Langston Hughes who had a poem, Harlem, And he meditated on the question, what happens to a dream deferred? And he implies that even when faced with systemic neglect, dreams have a way of exploding forward. That no obstacle, no delay, regardless of magnitude, can stop a dream. And as long as we can dream, we'll pursue them. But then there's a notion that some dreams can be interrupted. And some dreams can actually be stopped when the cessation of life stops a dream. And that has happened far too many times in the lives of Black people who have lost their lives prematurely over foolishness. And so it was April 3rd, last week, matter of fact, exactly a week ago, which was the anniversary of MLK's mountaintop speech the night before he was assassinated. 4 Black Harvard students had their dreams interrupted and almost extinguished because armed Harvard University police officers raided their suite in Leverett House in response to a false 911 call. All right, raided them, came in with guns blazing in response to a false 911 call. And we know how dangerous it is to be a Black person at the end of a police officer's gun. When you've done nothing, when you're unarmed, it doesn't matter. It's a danger. It's a danger. And it's by the grace of God that none of these students were harmed, were killed, because the situation that they were in, their lives definitely were in danger. Now, the problem is that Harvard's response, and let's be clear, the police can't control the fools who make false 911 calls. We're not saying that they should. We're not holding them responsible for the call that was made. The consternation that we have is there was 48 hours of silence. After this incident happened, the university didn't say anything for 2 days. All right. Then finally, the dean sent an email on April 5th, late at night, about 10 p.m. at night, to the undergraduate body. And in that email, he expressed some level of trepidation around the incident. And he talked about the implications, the fears, the trauma of the incident, and how it hit close to home for lots of, and here's the catchword, for lots of students of color. And his email never mentioned Black students. And let's be clear, I'm tired of them lumping the Black experience in with the experience of everybody else who's non-white, and talking about people of color and students of color. No, those were not students of color. Those were Black students that were targeted. And let's be clear, the Black experience in America is like no other experience. And we don't like our experience in being lumped in with people of color, because there were certain other non-white folks or people of color who didn't even get here to America until after our ancestors were enslaved, and we went through generations of enslavement and brutality. Their experience is not our experience. Ours is unique and stands alone. And the dean never wanted to mention Black students. See, for Black students, those anxieties that the dean talked about stem from a violent history against black bodies in these yet to be United States of America. But despite that history, the word black couldn't be found anywhere in his email. Nowhere. And I know those of you are saying, well, everybody's gone through something. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. There were black students that were targeted, and the black experience is unique and stands by itself. It should never be lumped in with no people of color. Nobody else can trace their trauma back to the Ku Klux Klan. All right, founded at the end of the Civil War to terrorize black people, not to terrorize minorities, not to terrorize people of color, to terrorize black people. Their night rides were about black people. White supremacy in America is about black people. Let's just be clear. Let's be clear. It's been black people who have had no sanctuary in America. It's been black families that have been left restless by the onslaught of white supremacist violence. It's been black families that have had to stay on guard, deprive themselves of sleep because of the fear of violence in the middle of the night. You can fast forward to the civil rights movement. Dr. King, on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, pronounced to the whole world that he had a dream, and everybody wants to take his dream and apply it to themselves. When he wasn't talking about y'all, he was talking about black people. I know y'all like that quote about the content of your character, but he wasn't talking about y'all. He said, I have a dream that my 4 children, let me help you, my 4 black children would not be judged by the color of their black skin, but by the content of their character. He wasn't talking, that quote don't apply to white folks, even though they love quoting that. Don't apply to Latino folk. Don't apply to black and brown folk. Don't apply. He was talking about black people. I know y'all don't like this. In the words of the Reverend Timothy Bucknight, y'all don't like me tonight. Y'all don't like me tonight. I don't care what y'all don't like. I'm going to say it because I know it's right. Okay? Listen. He was talking about black people. I know y'all want to take ownership of MLK, but he wasn't talking about y'all. He was talking about us. He was talking about black people. And so this whole swatting incident is nothing but an extension of the terrorizing of black bodies in America. And now black students on college campuses, on elite Ivy League college campuses, have to face that same level of terrorizing as their foreparents did when the KKK was doing their night rides. They have to be woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning at the end of a police officer's gun. Come on, man. To be woken up at 4 a.m. in the morning to banging knocks and police officers yelling, "Open up," dressed in full riot gear, who order you out of your suite at gunpoint. It's not only unnerving, but it's deeply traumatic. It's something that these young people will never forget. And I know that from experience. As a student at the University of Massachusetts, we went to the student union ballroom there was a party happening there. And I was standing in the back of the student union ballroom with some friends talking. And there were some visitors who came up from Springfield, Boston, other places who weren't students, who got into some trouble. But I'll never forget. I'll never forget the officer. I'll never forget. His name was Officer Majewski. He came to the back where we were and pointed a gun directly at me and said, "Get your hands up or you'll die in the night." I know how traumatic it is to be at the end of a police officer's gun when you haven't done anything. And this is something these young people will never forget. That happened to me when I was about 20 years old. It was 3 decades ago, more than 3 decades ago. And I still remember it like it was yesterday. I know they will never forget being roused up at 4 a.m. at gunpoint and told to get out of their suite and to get down on the ground. This is happening to black students in 2023 at Harvard. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, Bishop, well, all you can say about that is education is the key. You're right, but hey, stay on it. Okay, sir.
413-736-2781. We can only imagine, considering this pronounced historical record of fatal outcomes between police and black people, how high the stakes of that encounter was, how heightened the fears were of those young people during that incident. These actions have to be condemned in the strongest possible terms. The people who made the call, as well as swatting at large, has to be dealt with. Those who made the call need to be traced, tracked down, and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Harvard needs to do more than send an email expressing their trepidation about how people of color are treated. They need to pursue justice to the full extent. And they need to change their internal procedures to better vet these calls. And they don't need to wait 2 days before they say something. Now, there are other implications and nuances that we don't even have time to talk about during this program, but that need to be talked about, because in this particular incident, we not only see the blatant racism of whoever made the call, we not only see the trauma of the students, but we see how a militarized campus police system can be weaponized to terrorize black students. You know, we've got to have a conversation about the failure of policing in general, but also on college campuses. Why do police at Harvard have military gear? and weapons? Why are they strapped just like a city police force? Why do we have militarized police units on college campuses? Good morning, caller.
Yes, you see what I mean now about education. When you notice and you think back, like in the days, like you said, the Night Riders, and you put one and one together, and it comes out to three every time. So I mean, hey, I mean, you know, we are the meat, the bread, and we're in between the sandwiches. We're in between.
All right. Thank you for your call. 413-736-2781. The meat and the bread and the sandwich. Okay. Listen. Harvard spends $20 million a year on their police department. $20 million on their campus police. And by and large, the campus police deal with cases of property theft, suspicious activity, underage drinking, and all of that kind of stuff. They're not dealing with the type of crime you see in the cities. And weaponizing police against black students is only possible because policing is specifically a construct of anti-blackness. I know y'all, you know, my critics are gonna get mad and say I'm playing the race card, but it is what it is. Policing is specifically a construct of anti-blackness, which is why you're able to weaponize police against black people and against black students on college campuses. Whoever made that call knew they could weaponize the police against those black students. They knew it, and that's why they did it. Jay, you got the microphone.
Good morning, Bishop. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to bring the point that the level of partiality that the justice system seems to have throws me off with this kind of stuff. Because, you know, being from Connecticut, UConn just won a national championship, and there's a viral video of a riot, which these militarized police in these situations never show up to. Mm-hmm. But they have the time and the space to show up to a black resident's room to harass them.
In full riot gear.
In full riot gear, right. So when there's hundreds of kids rioting, right? When somebody wins a national championship or something, they're nowhere to be found.
Well, let me give you another example. Another example. When Black Lives Matter went to DC to protest, the police were there in full riot gear, tear gas, rubber bullets, the whole nine. They had heard for weeks about the January 6th insurrection. They knew it was happening. It was out. Matter of fact, I tweeted about it was going to happen. If I knew it was going to happen, the police knew it was going to happen. And even though they knew it was going to happen, they didn't have on no riot gear. They didn't call in extra police. They were standing there in their regular uniforms, opening up the doors and letting them in.
Absolutely. And that proves your point to the racial disparity and the racism in the policing force. They don't care about us. And the training, you know, I'm come from a law enforcement background. The training is always about the police officers' individual safety, then the safety of the public. Now, they're not thinking what traumatic experience this was caused to a person who has been swatted. Tariq Nasheed got swatted. You know what I'm saying? They don't come in there saying, hey, maybe this is something we need to look at with, you know, a different ounce of authority. When you get a call They should take the number of the person.
Right.
Because people will continue, especially white supremacists, they're going to continue to do this knowing nothing can happen. Tariq Nasheed said he was in there in his house giving his kid a bath, and he got a SWAT team at his front door.
Yep.
I'll leave my plate there.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's crazy. Good morning, caller.
Yes, they can't have us being even with them. When you're even, the best man wins.
I appreciate your call, brother. You hit your limit today. 413-736-2781 is the number here. If you want to call in the last few minutes that we have of the program. Listen, the reality is this, brothers and sisters, and we've said this over and over again. In the history of America, police patrols were created to respond to black resistance. That literally that's how they were created to respond to black resistance in the form of slave uprisings. That's what started policing in America. And these tactics went on to inform how policing is used broadly against black communities today. None of this understanding of policing's institutional history appeared in the university's response to the attack. Harvard's response failed to acknowledge that the students were black, a fact that significantly contextualizes the weight held by the event. Matter of fact, I think they purposely did not call them black because they didn't want it to be contextualized against the backdrop or juxtaposed against the anti-black history of policing in America. And so that underwhelming email made some passing references to communities of color, but really didn't want to talk about black people. Yeah. And that's what a lot of this swatting stuff is about. It's about targeting black people. Yeah. As the caller said, as Jay said, Brother Tariq talked about giving his child a bath and SWAT team showing up at his house because someone called the police and gave him a false report about him. And this has happened to black people across the nation. Let me get HBK in the comment section. HBK, you got the microphone. HB going once, going twice. All right, next time around. So listen, brothers and sisters, be careful. Be careful. Because there's crazy folks out there that are targeting black folks. And you or I, or even our children on the college campus, my son is a senior at UMass, and they've already had several racial incidents that happened up there, my alma mater. You know, they can be put in danger because of these crazy folks who think it's a joke to put black people in danger. They think it's hee ha ha for police to show up to black people's dorm rooms and hold them at gunpoint. Love experience. I'm gonna move out your way. Remember, once again, Vicki Irvin is in the house on Wednesday, 6:00 at Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ. If you're in the 413, you need to be there. All right. James Lewis is in the studio right now. He's coming up next with mid-morning jazz and great black music. So if you're in the 413, stick and stay right here on WTCC. If you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at Spring of Hope, 35 Alden Street, Springfield, Massachusetts, Sunday morning at 11 o'clock a.m. I'm out of here. Listen, until the next time I talk to you and the next time you talk to me, always remember that God loves you, and so do I. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, another day in the neighborhood.